I hope you all had an enjoyable weekend. Well, as you know, we're working through a difficult period in our financial markets right now as we work off some of the past excesses. But the American people can remain confident in the soundness and the resilience of our financial system. As I've long said, the housing correction is at the root of the challenges facing our markets and our financial institutions. I believe that we've taken very important steps with respect to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they're amongst the most important actions we can take to work through this turmoil. And I don't take lightly ever putting the taxpayer on the line to support an institution.
Should we read that as no more?
Don't read it as no more. Read it as that it's important. I think for us to maintain the stability and orderliness of our financial system.
Hey, can you just tell us how this happened and how did we get there? I mean, beyond housing correction, just take us back and explain to the American people, how did we get here?
Okay. I would say, first of all, we have excesses, and excesses that have built up for a long period of time, number one. Number two, we have an archaic financial regulatory structure that came in place a long time ago after the Depression. It really needs to be rebuilt.
What blame should the Bush administration take for the current economic situation in the United States? And have you been asleep at the switch and impacted?
Well, let me say, we're in the middle of a presidential campaign, and we're going to let the campaigns find it out, make their cases to the American people. I'm not focused on politics right now. I'm not looking back. I'm looking forward. I would say this. I'm playing the hand that was dealt me. A lot of what I'm dealing with, I'm dealing with the consequences of things that were done often many years ago.
Mr. Secretary, you said you're playing the hand that was dealt you. The president has been in office for 6 years longer than you have. Is the administration playing the hand that it was dealt, or is it to blame in any way for what's happening today?
I've got to tell you that the president has been a great boss as we work through here. He's been focused on the right thing. I strongly support his economic policies. He knows how important stability in the capital markets are. He's encouraging me to do the right things, and I'm going to leave history to the historians and focus on what we need to do.
Why did you agree to support the bailout of Bear Stearns but not Lehman?
Yeah, the situation in March and the situation and the facts around Bear Stearns were very, very different to the situation we were looking at here in September. And I never once considered that it was appropriate to put taxpayer money on the line in resolving Lehman Brothers.
What impact will the problems in the capital markets have on rebuilding efforts along the Gulf Coast, where they're going to need a big infusion of capital to rebuild?
Well, I've got to say, our capital markets are have a big impact on our economy overall. That's why they're important. It's important, as I said in my remarks, to the American people, to the growth in our economy, to jobs. And so the capital markets have a big role to play there, and so that's why it's so important that we...
Will the rebuilding effort be made more difficult by this?
What we're going through in the short term doesn't make anything easier, but in the longer term, it's going to make things better because we've got excesses we need to work through, and we need to work through them as quickly as possible.
Mr. Secretary, when are we going to see the bottom of this? Where are we in the process overall?
Where are we in the process overall? I want to remind you of one thing, which is when I look around the world and look at the long-term economic fundamentals we have in this country, I think they compare favorably with that I see in any major developed country in the world. So we've got a strong basis in terms of where we are, in terms of working through this. I think we've got to go back to the housing correction. Where are we in the housing correction? And I believe that there is a reasonable chance that the biggest part of that housing correction can be behind us in a number of months. I'm not saying 2 or 3 months, but in months as opposed to years. I think we're going to have housing issues in this country in mortgage issues for years, but in terms of getting by the biggest part of this correction, if we can make this Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac effort work the way I would like to see it work, I think we'll make real progress here.